going on, everybody, and welcome back to Frankie's Aquatics right here on the wonderful platform that is YouTube. I hope you've all had a fantastic week, and I hope your week has been kind and treated you well. Yes, very formal of me that, but I do have to get that bit out there. I hope you're all good, and I hope your week has been kind to you. As you can probably tell, I might sound a little bit like Barry White today. I sounded more like Chef from South Park there doing that, actually. I've got a bit of a dry throat and a bit of sinus issues going on. Now, don't worry, it's not the dreaded thing that we're all scared of right now. It is actually the fact that I stood in the garden for nearly 3 hours last night. I won't give too many details away because I'm actually going to talk about it. It's quite a funny story, actually. So I'm actually going to talk about it over on my podcast. Just be aware that it's not family friendly, the podcast. So don't go there with little ears. If you've got big ears, go there all day, but don't go there with little ears. And why the hell is my light flashing again? What is this all about? I swear that there's something wrong, not right with this ass, I'm telling you. I've had this light on for ages, and oh, here we go. And it's been fine. And I go to do my podcast, do my YouTube video, and it goes a bit crazy. Stay there. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on anymore. Just, I don't know. Anyway, start as you mean to go on. So yes, the short story is that we had a suspected carbon monoxide leak in our house, which was terrible and petrifying. Together, it's tetrifying apparently. But yeah, it was pretty scary, and the light's still messing around, but I'm going to go with it anyway. This week, I want to talk about well, not even the pros. I want to weigh up the differences and if it's a smart idea for breeding axolotl. I have so many people reach out to me going, I'm going to become a breeder. I want to do what you've done. Can you give me some advice? And I'll happily share advice. But I think sometimes people go into it without really thinking about the bigger picture. So today, we're going to talk about the stinky bits of keeping axolotl and breeding them. Because there are some things you have to take into consideration. Things that are often very much overlooked. So, big breath. Without further ado, let's get cracking with this week's video. But before we get straight into the juice, we're always going to have a little look at the axolotls, aren't we? We always do. We always have a little look-see, because I know you like the axolotls. You're probably here for them more than me. It's all right, I can come to terms with that. But let's get cracking. So, over here, let's we go.
If you find the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see, yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young. I'll take a hit and still finish and run, yeah, yeah. Memory lane isn't that too far away from our hearts, yeah, yeah. The ones we keep close, we should never let go. So tell me who you love, baby. Take a moment to unwind, fix yourself and realign yourself with the world, baby. Breathe slow, baby, yeah. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, we should breathe slow, we should breathe slow. We should breathe slow, breathe slow.
So axolotls, as we all know, I'm pretty biased. I love them. They are by far the most marvellous creatures that this earth is blessed with, to be perfectly honest. They're just fascinating. They're adorable. They're really cute. They're really characterable. That's the right word? They really are that. And they're very easy to fall in love with. I'm sure many of you already know my backstory to axolotls, but I just basically found them in a school book, and I'm doing this for a reason, by the way. I'm turning the little knot to the whoa. Okay, we're back. Oh god, here we go. This is going to be a fun video, this is, isn't it? So yeah, basically my story started after being a child in the library at school, flicking through a book and finding a picture of what was advertised as a Mexican walking fish, which obviously is the axolotl. I instantly fell in love just straight away with the adorableness. This was just before the Pokemon boom, to be honest. I don't think it was quite on par with. It was just before the Pokemon boom. And I just remember falling in love with this like prehistoric looking creature. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know if it was a fish. I didn't know if it was some sort of frog, a lizard. I didn't even know. It could have been a lizard, Harry. I didn't know what it was. I really didn't. But I just remember falling in love with it. So much so that I took the picture and I kept it for myself. So yeah, they are very easy to fall in love with. Now, the hobby itself is wonderful. It's very rewarding. If you have yourself a nice good tank, nice good filter, nice cold water, everything is on point. You're going to have a very happy axolotl, which is going to further encourage you to invest more. Now, I'm not saying only have one axolotl and don't breed or anything like that. If that's something you really want to do, then by all means make sure you do your homework and probably eventually work your way up to doing it, but don't rush to do it. There's a few reasons why I say that. For one, they are literally everywhere. Axolotls are not very hard to find. In certain places of the world, I assume they might be a little bit more scarce, I suppose. Wild types are actually borderline extinct, if not already. But in the pet trade, they are booming, they are big business, and you can pick them up fairly easy. The problem is we're probably oversaturated within the hobby. At least in certain countries, so much so that rescues are becoming a really higher in demand. So I'd much prefer people to look into the side of rescuing. I think, oh God, this light's doing my nut in. But yes, I'd much prefer people to look into the side of rescue. Axolotls are crying out for new homes. It wasn't until I was quite heavily into the breeding side of this that I realised that the rescue side of this was very, very much in need of help. Axolotls were being, I think people buy them on a whim, don't quite appreciate that they can live for like 10 to 15 years, very, very long lived, and I think people get quite daunted by it. Then the novelty wears off, let's be honest, the novelty wears off for some people, and it just becomes almost an ornament in the house. And that's obviously when rescues become actually in need of a new home and become a rescue essentially. So before you go adding to the hobby in regards to breeding, just make sure that you can obviously do right by the animals that you do actually have. You've got to remember, an axolotl, one pair of axolotls can nookie up and they can produce literally hundreds, if not thousands of offspring. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have a really good hatch rate, you're going to have hundreds again, if not thousands of axolotls on your hands that are going to be all looking to you for food. And as a sensible keeper and a sensible breeder, you've got to make sure you've got every avenue covered. That's not just affordability either. That's housing. Obviously, these axolotls might start off like little tiny commas, but eventually they grow and they grow and they grow. And before you know it, you're going to have a sub-adult to an adult on your hands looking for a new home. People might not be looking for that particular type, and you're going to find yourself stuck with hundreds of axolotl. And that's obviously when, again, it becomes a rescue case. So make sure that you can obviously, for one, you can afford and feed the animal correctly and obviously not have to cut any corners there. Also make sure that if you do, just the best way to do this is how I do things. If I can't house every axolotl that I'll hatch safely, sensibly and securely, and provide everything that them axolotls will need in their growing up life, then I won't breed. It's that simple. I have the ability, God bless me for having the ability, but I have the ability to house the axolotls here should they not sell. So should axolotls not go on to their new homes, that's absolutely fine. I don't overly advertise my axolotl anyway. They're quite happy to stay here with me. I'm absolutely fine. I'll be the crazy axolotl kid. I'm all right with that. I love it. So it's not a big issue for me. They can quite happily stay with me. I have the abilities and the means for them to stay with me forever if required. So that's the beauty of what I do. Some people obviously don't have that luxury. They don't have the space. They don't have the time. They don't have the financial need for that axolotl or axolotls. And obviously it becomes a problematic kind of hobby to be in. So for one, make sure you can obviously provide the food. For two, make sure you've got the space and the means to look after your axolotl. And for three, make sure you're thinking of the bigger picture, the whole thing. It's all right looking at the idea of sitting out looking over your eggs and watching them hatch like a scene from Jurassic Park when that little dinosaur pops his nose out of there and it's like, wow, this is such a fantastic moment. Yeah, it is. It's a very, very rewarding hobby. I've never quite enjoyed anything like I have axolotl keeping and breeding and rescuing, everything, the whole kit and caboodle. I absolutely love it. But I wouldn't do it if I couldn't do it properly. It's that it boils down to being that straightforward and that plain sailing. It really is that easy. If I couldn't do it how I need to do it, I really wouldn't do it. Now, as you can probably imagine, I do get quite a lot of emails and I get an awful lot of inbox messages. Now, I have to instantly say I'm terrible for email. So if you have emailed me, my email is by far the busiest. So it's very, very easy to get really logged under with that. I know this is really dreadful to say, I think I'm working months and months behind when it comes to my email. I only have my phone at the moment to use as an outlet, so that's why I'm so behind. But anyway, back to the story, back on track. I literally get hundreds, if not thousands, of emails and messages every week of people saying, I'm going to start breeding, help me, what do I need to do? Now, I don't mean this in a rude way, I don't mean this in a contradictive sort of way, but if you're coming to me with no experience whatsoever asking me what to do, I'm going to politely tell you to go away and do your homework, because if you come here with no kind of knowledge whatsoever, that clearly tells me it's just an idea in your head and you've not really given it too much thought. You have to really think of every single possibility when it comes to breeding. You've also got to come down to the realistic side of, if you don't do it correctly, you can cause harm to your axolotl that you're pairing as well. And nobody wants to see anything like that. They can become egg bound if they're too small and they're not quite ready for breeding. They can have trouble with impaction. There's loads and loads and loads of things that you've really got to take into consideration. So I say this with the most kindest of hearts. If you are just thinking about it, make sure you think again. You've got to keep going, and you've got to make sure that you've got every kind of possibility that could happen covered, and you're more than capable of obviously caring for your axolotl. I feel like I'm rambling a bit in this video, but I'm very passionate about it. I'll always be the first person that'll help somebody if I can. Absolutely. I have no... People apologise for messaging me. Don't ever apologise. I apologise to you for not being able to get back to you quick enough. It takes me weeks. I literally put 3 days a week into sitting there getting back to nothing but my messages, and I'm still working nearly 3 weeks behind. It's less than I'm so grateful to all of you. But please don't be offended if I don't get an instant response. It's just the fact that the channel's growing. It seems that, I hate saying this, but my popularity is growing within the hobby, and it's just becoming a lot more difficult to manage. So if you do message me, never apologise for messaging me. Even if it's something you just want to say hello, never apologise for messaging me. But do accept my apology for the long wait you're going to have in regards to a response. There we go. But what I'm trying to say is the majority of the messages are really great, but I will get the occasional one where it's someone saying, look, my axolotls have got together and we've had an accidental brood of eggs. What do we do? A brood of eggs, a brood. Don't even know if that's a real word, but I'm sticking with it. A brood of eggs. Help me, what do I do? And I'll help you no end. I'll always advise you the best way possible to kind of do right by yourself and your axolotl. It's really easy pairing. It really is. That's not the difficult part at all. Axolotls will do what they know what to do. They know how to breed. If you provide them with the right sort of temperatures and they're all happy and healthy, they will pair and they will breed. It's thinking of the bigger picture. I know I keep saying this, but it really is important to think about the bigger picture. And the chances are that you can have hundreds of axolotls that are going to need feeding every day and need caring for every single day could be put on your shoulders. I've helped no end of ex-breeders out as well. I'm not knocking the particular breeders at all. Believe me, if I ever found myself in a sticky spot, I'd like to think the community would help me as well. But there are ex-breeders that I just go in, it's just too much. The idea is lovely. It's a lovely idea and I've loved the journey so far, but it's just too much. It's consuming. And it really is life consuming. If you do it properly and correctly, you follow all the rules and all the guidelines to better look after your axolotl when it comes to breeding. Whenever you have a large collection, it does become consuming, it does. And it can almost feel like it happens overnight as well. It's almost like, whoa, okay, when did this become a thing? And then before you know it, you've got all these little babies and they're getting bigger and they're starting to look up at you and it's so cute. But anyway, back to the serious stuff. And they start looking up at you, looking for food, and it does feel like you're on a bit of a conveyor belt and you're just doing the same stuff all the time. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to be able to do this full time. This is what I do. Literally my life. It's what I do. It really is. And this is what I love doing. Another thing I need to really stress to you all, which is something that a lot of people kind of get confused in. This does not make a crazy amount of money. If it did, I'd be swimming in gold. It really doesn't. If you're in this for the money, if you're in this for a financial gain, unfortunately, you're in the wrong business. Because the truth be told, the money that I make is very quite minute compared to going out and having a proper 9-to-5 job. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It's very minute. But the money that does come in literally goes straight back into the business. It goes straight back into feeding the axolotls. It goes straight back into equipment, water conditioners, new tanks, new aquariums, new tubs, new holding tubs, new baby brine shrimp, new bloodworms, earthworms, everything. It's not cheap. And if I'm honest, a lot of the time I'm putting my own money into this on top of what I'm making. And I'm doing a good thing. I'm doing all right with the breeding side of it. I'm doing great with the rescue side of it. But it's still, this is what I'm using me as a shining example here. It doesn't spin a crazy profit. And if you are in it for the money, and again, in the most respectful way possible, you're in it for the wrong reasons. Get into this for the right reason. And if you do make a little bit of money, eventually, after many years of doing it, then fair play to you. You've earned yourself a little bit of pocket money. But don't come in here thinking you're going to make £1 million overnight. It's not going to happen. It's a lot of work. I'm sure most of my friends that are also breeders out there can also agree to that and vouch to that it isn't going to spin you a crazy profit. And it does kind of, it is grinding. It is very time consuming too. So think of your own mindset as well. I think I've pretty much covered just about every avenue there. I don't think I've missed anything. These videos I just literally flood. I mean, this is going to be edited down to about a 15-minute video, but the truth be told, looking at my camera now, I've been talking for 37 minutes. Now, I know full well I can't release a 37-minute and expect you poor suckers to sit there and watch it. I won't watch this face for 37 minutes. I'm sorry, Frankie. I wouldn't do it. So I can't expect you guys to do it as well. So no doubt there's going to be a part 2 to this where I probably go in depth a little bit more and probably show a bit more about how you do things and what I do here. Now, for those of you who are absolutely begging for part 2 of a day in the life of, I did a day in the life of an axolotl breeder was it last year? It feels like it was last year. It might have been. And I've never really got around. I've never had the freedom since the whole lockdown hit, I've never had the freedom to record part 2, but I want to rest assured that part 2 will be coming. It is very much high on the agenda of what I want to produce for this channel. So do rest easy. I do promise you it is coming. I just don't quite know when. And Tia, who's just sat down there, has let out the most stinkiest fart ever. I was about to apologise, but thankfully you guys can't actually smell it. But yeah, she absolutely hums. Don't sit there looking all cute. You stink. You stink. Now, I'd just like to take a moment to say a huge thank you to my Frankie Lottles. They're the people that go and support this channel above and beyond, and they go and support me over on Patreon. That platform is amazing, and it's not, what I love about it more than anything is the fact that we've got a little bit of a community build going, where we've got a Discord chat where people can go and talk. I go in there. I try and get in most days throughout being a busybody. And it's just great. I've got a real feeling of like, it's almost like a friendship bubble. It's a really good team over there. So if you want to get yourself involved with that, then you'll find all the relevant information directly below this video. That bit that nobody presses where you go more and it gives you all the information about the video. It'll be in there, links will be in there. Obviously merchandise, people ask if I sell merchandise. I don't talk about it nearly enough, I don't think. But there is merchandise also available. You'll find all that directly below as well. And thank you all for stopping by and checking out this week's video. I apologise for the little glitchy bits at the beginning. I don't know what's going on with this circle light. It's currently on full beam at the moment, but for whatever reason, that doesn't look very full beam to me. I'm trying. Press this one. Let's say. I'm joking. I'm still here. Yeah, it's seen better days, doesn't it? Let's be honest. It's about as bright as it goes. Not very good, is it? That's not going to wash with me. Anyway, thank you all for stopping by and checking out this week's video. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that like button. It just lets me know that you enjoy the content that I'm producing. Also hit the subscribe button just to keep yourself in the loop when I upload, and also ding the notification bell. And also drop some comments as well. I've noticed the comment section has been booming, and I made myself a little promise that I would be more active in the comment section talking back to you lovely lot. So I have actually, last week I did sit there for a good bit of time replying back to you all. So do keep yourself active below. And until next time, ta-ta for now. Woohoo! I would just like to give a huge shout out to my friends over on Patreon, also known as Frankie Lottles. If you want to get yourself involved, you'll find all the relevant information directly below. Is this this is like, honestly, this video today, I don't know what's going on with the light, tears trumping. You might notice that the bloody filter pump thing's bloody blowing off like a trooper at the background. Listen. It's like a drill. It's like a little workman sat in my back garden drilling, and it's not. It's just my air pump on the way out. But I've got another one, just in case I find the time to switch them.